spending the night at Parliament. The body of Oulanyah is what I mean, and some, of course, MPs spending the night with him at Parliament. Well, today, officially, the Speaker will be having a state funeral service at Kololo Airstrip, where at least 1,500 people have been invited, and it is by invitation. And so you need to be looking out for that anytime now. We'll be live here at Family TV. We'll show all the proceedings as they happen live. But allow me start with the Daily Monitor with press review, where I analyze the top stories in your daily newspapers. Now, I have the Daily Monitor with me, and in the top story, the top story is what everyone has been talking about, what everyone has been speculating about, what everyone has been apparently just making guesses about, and what killed Oulanyah. Yesterday the Speaker lay in Parliament the whole day, and people were giving their views and their thoughts about the late Speaker and what happened there. But what killed Oulanyah is what is in the top story here, and the doctor's report. Now, the Minister of Health, Dr. Jane Ruther Cheng, came out and gave us those particulars of what happened. Now, Oulanyah's death followed failure of his liver, lungs, kidney, and heart, resulting from the cancer, bacterial and viral infections, and bleeding in the intestines, and a missing spleen accelerated his death. Now, the stories are on page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the Daily Monitor. You need to look out for that. Now, there also are the doctors' report in full, where they mention and say he suffered from a total bone marrow suppression worsened by multiple previous chemotherapy sessions, and many other things. So in case you are thinking, there are some people who are on social media saying he was poisoned or what, well, they are going to deal with you after the burial on Friday, as the police said. But read the full story if you want to find out what exactly was Oulanyah suffering from. But here in the top picture is the body of the late Speaker, former Speaker Jacob Oulanyah, was received at Parliament by the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the Speaker of Parliament now, Anita Mong, and her deputy, Thomas Tayebwa, and who moved the motion to pay tribute to Oulanyah. And they did that all day and all night. Read the full story here on the pages that follow. Now, the Daily Monitor is full of eulogies about Oulanyah and what you need to expect. Oulanyah's journey from Muyenga to Parliament. Remember that Oulanyah died at the age of 56. Very young man there. Now, former Speaker Oulanyah's final journey to Parliament, and they give some insights on what the MPs had to say to their fallen leader. Now, the other stories that follow, NUP on page 5. NUP proposes 100 million for ex-speaker's burial. And by the way, allow me to say that NUP sometimes, the government had initially planned to spend 2.5 billion on Oulanyah's send-off, which was first slashed to 1.8 billion and finally to 1.2. But the leadership of NUP proposes at least 100 million for ex-speaker's burial. But we forget that the speaker is third in rank, and a state funeral is quite expensive. I know most of us have not experienced a state funeral before, but it's quite expensive. Actually, after they broke it down for me, at least, I had a conversation with someone in these mixes, and they broke it down for me, and I found out actually the 1.2 billion is actually sufficient for it. But NUP here in the Daily Monitor proposes at least 100 million for ex-speaker's burial. Well, we'll read more of that story on page 5 of the Daily Monitor. And the eulogies continue. There is a pictorial here of people eulogizing Oulanyah in Parliament. Some speakers were crying. There were some dances that happened. Security was, of course, top-notch, and everyone, most of the male MPs I know wore the bow tie, which was a fashion signature for the late speaker, Oulanyah. And yes, that happened. But read the full tribute and eulogies on page 6, 7 of the Daily Monitor. Now, for those who are wondering, also, Dr. Jane Luther Cheng came out and said, by the way, the reason why they were restricting people to go and even visit Oulanyah in Seattle, and it's on page 7 here, is because well, the Oulanyah was suffering from a bone marrow some kind of disease, and they were trying to avoid contamination as much as possible. But the 4 people who flew to Oulanyah to Seattle, who flew with Oulanyah to Seattle, are revealed, and that was Oulanyah himself, Dr. Jackson Orem, Dr. Jane Ruth Ocheng. And so Jane Ruth Ocheng, of course, came out and said Dr. Orem's responsibility was to ensure that he's stable during the flight, well rehydrated, picked up quickly on arrival, taken to hospital, settled down and stay with him to make sure he is well taken care of. But read the full story on page 7 of the Daily Monitor. Now, local committee cites budget constraints on Oulanyah's burial after they released money yesterday. Now, construction and many other things happened at Oulanyah's home in Mahooro, and construction began. The road is well done. So we are looking forward to that. And to carry on from Oulanyah's burial, remember that today is the state funeral, and it will be starting at exactly 9 a.m. at Kololo Airstrip, where there will be a service actually led by the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, and many other reverends and dignitaries will be there. 1,500 people only were invited, and it was by invitation. You don't just go. And in fact, the police came out and released a statement on the roads that will be blocked: Wampeo Avenue, and some few other any roads around Kololo Airstrip. The usual chitrake that we like calling it on Twitter. The chitrake will be there, please. So in case you are trying to use that road today, please don't use other roads to get wherever you need to go. But moving on to some national news. Now, UNEB lists requirements for final examinations that are going to happen. Now, according to UNEB, the normal registration process is currently underway until May the 31st, while late registration will stretch up to June, and you need to look out for that on page 9 of the Daily Monitor. And the districts given 30 days to select hubs beneficiaries, and the State House Controller, Ms. Jane Bareche, has given district leaders in selected sub-regions where government has established industrial hubs only 1 month to complete the process of selecting the beneficiaries. And read the full story on page 9 of the Daily Monitor there. And City Tycoon Luasa arrested over forgeries in gold deal. Now, officials in the Energy Ministry accuse Luasa of engaging in dubious gold trading. Now, it's called Emmanuel Luasa. Read the full story of that on page 10. And Kenya fuel crisis won't affect Uganda. That is what the government is saying. But I disagree with the government, because when you see the fuel prices now, it's almost reaching 5,200, and before the end, in about 2 months, really, I think will be already 6,000. So I think it's already affecting us. But Mr. Solomon Muyita, who is a spokesperson of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, says that Uganda gets its fuel from international companies, and the products are available though at higher prices. We are receiving the stock that we ordered. The Kenya fuel crisis will not affect us. Well, let's wait and see. And of course, we know that with the raids that are happening in the north in Karamajong, hundreds flee as warriors raid Kapela-Byong. Now, suspected Karamajong warriors have invaded Kapela-Byong and Katakwi district, forcing hundreds of terrified locals to flee to neighboring districts with their livestock. Yeah, so as you pray every day, please kindly pray for the hundreds and the people in the north there. And 67 cows were stolen from Kapela Byong yesterday from these Karamajong warriors, like you call them. Read the full story on page 10 and 11. When we continue, there are some few opinions from legendaries like Charles Onyango, who, Jacob Olanya's funeral and Northern Uganda's Walking Dead. What he has to say about that, read the full story there. And Ukraine, time for Uganda to stand up for what it believes in. And this is also a letter from Andriy Pravedyk, who is on the Ukraine-Russia war, and many other things. And of course, every Wednesday, the Daily Monitor has a magazine on homes and real estate and what you need to know about those two. Now, how safe is having power lines on your property? Well, that's the question they are asking today, how safe it is having power lines on your property, and what you need to know about it, and what experts say is prudent to be around your property in terms of electricity. But you need to read the full story on page 25 of the Daily Monitor. When we continue, we need some regional news here. Kumi priest misses bishop job and resigns. Now, we need to learn how to relax banangi as people. Now, the cleric says he plans to pursue further studies, but Reverend Charles Ode Okunya resigned as an Anglican priest in the Church of Uganda a month after his bid to be bishop fell apart. Now, his view is, Reverend Charles Ode Okunya says that, amid my silence and being out of Kumi diocese for long, I continued to come under ridicule. I was retained to serve in the capacity of Secretary of Education, but at the same time, to my dismay, I have police summons originating from the diocese accusing me of wanting to kill the person of the bishop. Hey, okay, very interesting story here in the Daily Monitor on page 28. So read well, look out for that. And of course, police boss accused of child neglect. This is Mr. Marshall Tumusime, who allegedly took advantage of the woman while she was in detention at Chizinda police station. And this is in Bushenyi, by the way, where this has happened, but read the full story on that. Mbale suspends collection of parking fees. So read on that. Now, in foreign news, satellite image of butcher bodies site contradicts Russian claims. Now, there is a picture here, satellite images that pin Russia and particular bodies of people. Now, Russia was previously claiming that the bodies were staged, but according to satellite images, well, the bodies are there. And read the full story of that on page 30 of the Daily Monitor. And in business news, prices of food products increased by 9.7%. And I think it's still going on. This is my opinion. But food prices, according to Uganda Bureau of Statistics, have risen by 9.7% in the last 1 year, from December 2021 to January. And well, you need to read why the goods have inflated and how we can deal with it. But also in more business news, Bolloré signs $6.3 billion deal to sell African operations. Now, the French logistics group Bolloré has agreed to sell its African operations to container shipping company Mediterranean Shipping Company for $6.3 billion. Now, Bolloré last week said in a statement that the deal, which was awaiting regulatory approval, is expected to be completed at the end of the first quarter of 2023. And the multi-billion-dollar deal will see MSC Group take over 100% control of Bolloré Africa logistics, its shipping logistics and terminal operations on the continent. And yes, will see MSC Group take over 100% of Bolloré Africa Logistics. But read the full story on page 31 and find out why it's selling, and how we could, how are they going to affect any logistics in this particular time, even as they leave the market. And then, of course, in sports news, we have the cricket cranes off to Namibia, and we have some people sending them off here, and that is the national. We have the NCS official in charge of cricket, Sarah Chelangat, and Plascon brand manager Daniel Kayongo, soon after flagging off the cricket cranes to Namibia on Monday at Lugogo. And there is the senior team that is in Namibia for that. But just to give you the itinerary of the cricket cranes in Namibia, now they will arrive in Windhoek and on April 6th, which is today. And on tomorrow, April 7th, they'll have a practice session. On April 8th to 10th, they will have the T20 versus Namibia, ODIs versus Namibia, and then on April 15th, they will return back to Uganda, where the Castle Light series will be waiting for them later on. But also on 8th April, Uganda will be versing Namibia at UCC. Again on April 9th for the T20I, Uganda again will be versing Namibia, and many others if you want to find out more of that. But that's all we had for you in the Daily Monitor. Make sure you grab a copy of the Daily Monitor and read much more of this story. Brenda will be coming in later with the new vision and what you need to know from the new vision. But let's go in for a break. We'll be right back with the new vision.
You're not alone.
Cancer has increasingly become a global health challenge.
Today, since we've sat here, I've been to the toilet 5 times.
More often, we unknowingly endanger ourselves in the illusion of indulging in fun.
You had better style up. Man, keep watching.
Simple acts of life omission or commission may cause irreversible health damage to our bodies. We ought to be aware of, and whenever necessary, to consult and get the doctor's help.
Can cancer be passed from a mother to fetus?
There's genetic science shows that it is possible for a mother to pass cancer to the child through the placenta.
Cancer is not a death sentence. Early detection and treatment can save your life. The Change, an educative TV drama series on cancer.
Do you know that you can now enjoy great enriching shows anywhere through the Family TV app? Here is how to download it. Open Play Store on your phone. Search for the Family TV app. Click Install. After installing it, open it and enjoy enriching content anywhere, everywhere, anytime. Family TV, enriching lives.
Do you have a business that you are looking to grow? Advertising with Church of Uganda Family TV is the way to go. We are located on Church House, level 13, along Kampala Road. We offer favorable rates and an extremely creative production team that will work with you to take your business to the next level. To give us a ring, call us on 0781 084215 or 0750 655232. Church of Uganda Family TV, enriching lives.
to another level. And that's why you see creativity each day in the art industry. Here we come with a purpose, what will bring you arts and culture, topical discussion, and the soul entertainment. Tune in every Saturday from midday to 1 p.m. here on Touch of Uganda Family TV, courtesy of Mercy and Rita, The Purpose, refreshing your mind.
Mirinda. Grab yourself an ice cold bottle of Mirinda Orange at any shop or supermarket near you. Mirinda Orange, the taste that makes you go ORNG.
Press review and news updates.
Welcome, this is a beautiful morning here at Uganda Family TV, and we are always blessed every single morning when we have you and you have us. Yes, this is Press Review, and I'm going to be reading you the stories in the Daily Monitor, in the New Vision. The top stories here in the New Vision is government reveals cause of Olanya's death, and we know that yesterday Dr. Ruth Cheng was talking about what was the cause of death, like everything failed, the lungs, the liver. Yeah, that was some of the things that I had to get about. And then Kadaga informed President about Olanya's absence from house. Full story on page 4, and here the top picture when the Vice President Jessica Lupo and Speaker of Parliament Anita Amongi and Deputy Speaker Thomas Taiba were receiving the body of the fallen Speaker Jacob Olanya. That is the that is the top picture in the New Vision, and you can get yourself a copy and read more of these stories on page 4, 5, and 6. Here on page 3 of the New Vision, government officials promoting land grabbing. According to the Commission's finding, laxity on government entities such as Uganda Land Commission, National Forestry Authority, and Uganda Railway Corporation are responsible for land being claimed by private individuals. Full story on page 3. And then here there is what the experts are saying, that more young people diagnosed with hypertension. Data from health facilities shows a rise in the number of young people aged 20 and 40 years battling hypertension. And the report says that young men most affected. Dr. Susan Nachireka, a physician working at Mengo Hospital, noted that young men in their 40s and 50s are at a high risk of getting hypertension. Get full story on page 3 of the New Vision and see why the younger men and those ones that are in the age of 20 and 40 are getting hypertension. What is the cause? Are they the things that we are eating? Grab yourself a copy. And then here, government reveals cause of Olanya's death. And yesterday, Dr. Ruth Cheng was talking about what was the cause and why they were not allowing people to go into to visit him, because the bone marrow was not working, so they were high risk of getting infections, and everything failed, like the liver, the heart, everything. And here there was Kadaga was talking about farewell to my friend, my colleague, my partner, and a number of our party. Olanya, may your soul rest in eternal peace. And yesterday was talking about how Olanya went missing for 6 weeks, and like he did not talk about what was going on, but he was battling with something, but he did not inform inform the speaker by then, who was Rebecca Kadaga. But right now he's realizing that Olanya was battling with something, with a disease that he wasn't talking about. get yourself a copy and read more of this story and the illness history, how it happened. Yeah, full story on page 4 and 5. And here there are MPs paying tribute to Speaker Oulanya, what everyone spoke about. There is Robert Lukali, Mbara City North, Nadar Mafabi, Budadiri West, Betty Namboze, Mokono Municipality, Jacob Oboth, State Minister for Defense. Like what everyone was talking about, how Jacob Oulanya was a partner, Jacob Oulanya was a good man. The staff were talking about him, so what are they going to talk about you when you date? That is the question that you should ask yourself. And then here, NRM cadres reject proposal to elect president. The National Resistance Movement, losers in the 2020 party primaries, are divided over the proposal to have the president elected by MPs in the next elections. Read more of this story and then see what the Transformer cadres view are and what they're talking about, why they're talking about everything that has happened. Full story on page 7. Handover criminals, UPDF urges Karamojong. Uganda People's Defense Forces has ordered the Turkana, Karamojong and their leaders to immediately hand over the criminals involved in the killing of geologists and soldiers. Read full story on page 8. And government proposes tax exemption for Jagadi. And this first happened in 5 years. Like the first exemption of Jagadi from paying taxes was in 2017, during which government explained that the move was aimed at lowering power tariffs to reduce the cost of production in the country. So it is also happening in 2020. To read full story why it is happening in 2022. Mega Rewards promo winners launch revamped content. Full story on page 9 of the New Vision. Leaders given 1 month to select zonal hub skilling beneficiaries. Full story on page 10. Senior citizen push for inclusive development systems. Building systems that serve all members of society will lead to viable development where people can contribute and gain from social and economic transformation. That is what Professor Ephraim Kamuntu, the former Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, said. Full story on page 10 of the New Vision. Over 330 Congolese flee into Kasese. We know what is happening in Congo. There was the M23. What is happening there? We all know that. But more than 330 Congolese have fled into the western Uganda district of Kasese following bloody terrorist attacks, in which at least 20 civilians died in 2 villages. Yeah, let's continue to pray for our brothers who are in Congo and everything get to stabilize them so that they can go back to their country. Vocational students to train at workplaces. That is what the Education Ministry has ordered all technical institutions to train students at workplaces to produce people that can compete in the job market. But how? Read full story and see how it is going to be done, what they're looking at, and what it is are they looking at. 6.7 billion shillings Namambe Incubation Center for SMEs launched. Full story on page 12. UPDF asked to make farm tools, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries has asked the Uganda People's Defense Forces National Enterprise Corporation to start manufacturing farm tools that will be sold to farmers at subsidized rates. Full story on page 13. Yeah, you can get yourself a copy and see the students that are at home. There's here senior 1 and senior 2 study materials, and then you keep your busy. You keep busy even when you're at home. And then here in the business news, Kenya authorities are reviewing guidelines issued by Uganda resolve milk dispute. World Bank tells East African community countries. Then your trade fact 40%. Full story on page 27 and see. Month-end flows give shilling upper hand. The domestic markets are going to be squarely focused on the outturn of the microeconomic picture of Q4 of the fiscal year. Full story on page 27 and see the forex rates, currency, what the currency is buying and what the currency is selling. In different currencies, the dollar, the euro, the pound, the Kenya shillings. And then here in Contoroko, woman MP loser suffers setback in appeal. Full story on page 28. Community news. What is fueling strikes in West Nile schools? We all know that there are strikes that have been going on in West Nile. Some of them were they took on the strikes because they had refused them to watch the football match between Man U and Arsenal, and others because they had given them posho and beans. So get yourself a copy and see what the students are talking about this, and some of them are saying because they like a lack of counseling, poor communication, parents' responsibility in discipline. So get yourself a copy and see what is hearing all these things that are happening in the West Nile in schools. Residence leaders pay tribute to Olanya. Full story on page 31. Porto Tourism City begins monitoring air quality. The lack of air quality data in Uganda has led to continuous air pollution in Kabalole. This is happening in Kabalole. Read full story on page 31. And then drugs worth over 80 million shillings impounded. And then here in the sports news, Sports University is my target. That is what Miriam Mel Osimi, Mpata's football career may not be well known. Yeah, full story on page 38. And the last page, superb Nakai, Uganda's middle distance runner and raging world 800-meter champion Halima Nakai has advised parents to support their talented children both with their education and talent. Yeah, full story on the last page of the New Vision here. There is a lot of stories that are happening. Gymnastics, body aerobics, facility, what the Gymnastics Association of Uganda, President Harriet Aya has put in request for the construction of state. Yeah, read full story on the last page of the New Vision. Get yourself a copy of the New Vision and read more of these stories. Yeah, I just give you only hints, but you can get yourself a copy and read more of the stories that sometimes we do not read about, sometimes we do not talk about. Yes, get yourself a copy. Just going to go in for a short break, but we are going to come back with it all the time. Don't go in.
This is how we play. Play with power.
This is how we do it.
How we put a team together. This is how we pass on greatness. Because with this team to inspire us, there's nothing we can't do.
Go for goals and win. Buy a Pepsi glass bottle or Pepsi Max 330 ml. Check another crown and win soda, TVs, caps, t-shirts and cash. Redeem prizes at any Pepsi depot or truck countrywide. Terms and conditions apply. Pepsi, for the love of it.
Evening prayer.
Alcohol intoxicates the mind and releases the emotions and lets down our guard.
I want to remind you that the greatest of all is God's love. That's what we need to seek for. And once we have God's love is permanent. Once it fills our heart, we're able to overflow and share this love to the others.
Have you given to the Lord even when you have the smallest coin like that widow? Jesus said, look at this widow. She has done it better than all these people because she gave all that she had.
I pray for full restoration, full resurrection, full rejuvenation of the joy of the Lord.
talk.
Let's talk.
Let's Talk is an uncensored program on Family TV that attempts to answer questions that are unanswered within our church settings. Questions like sex and money, drugs and alcoholism, prophecy and prophets in our country. So, catch us at 9 p.m. every Tuesday on Family TV as we explore different topics and make attempts to answer the different life topics. Every Tuesday with me, Emmanuel Odeke. Let's talk.
Program ensonga tukuletera okumanya biki ebigenda maaso mu ggwanga. Okumanya ebyenjigiriza n'ebyenkulaakulana ekyo nikyo kikulu. Twegatteko wano ku Church of Uganda Family TV buli wa mukaaga essaawa 11 ez'akawungeezi.
Brethren, yes we can. We can clear the debt of church house. And I want to invite you to give generously to the love gift. May God bless you as you give.
Talk of the Town.
Yes, this is the Talk of the Town where we get to analyze what you're thinking about, what we are thinking about here at Church of Uganda Family TV live on 13th floor. Yes, we're talking about today something that really came to our mind yesterday. The MPs were applauding Olanya, how he was a good man. The staff were talking about him, how he was a good man, who was a joker, who was so amazing. Yeah, today they're going to be taking Olanya at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds where the Archbishop of Church of Uganda Family, Church of Uganda, Kazimba Mugaru is going to be the main celebrant, and the president is going to be the guest of honor. Yeah, today I'm with Byron, and we are talking about if you die, what are they going to remember about you, Byron? If you die, what are they going to remember about you?
I'm just going to say what some of the things that Semujonganda said yesterday. Semujonganda is the MP of Chira municipality, and he said now he has learnt a lot from Olanya's passing, and one of the things he has learnt is that But let me just read what he said, so that I don't.
And then he said, when you die, what are they going to remember about you?
Surely, I'm ready. But he mentions and says, usually at death, people will give flowery speeches, even those that have made your life difficult. In fact, I've learned a lesson from Honorable Anya's death. I will draw a list of those who will come near my body to speak. You heard what you said. You said that, man, even those that had beef with you, hated you,
I remember he was asked why he's not wearing a bow tie because every MP most of them were wearing bow ties. What
did he say?
And then he said, I'm not going to repeat what he said.
Okay. Anyway, but you and me, like Olanya, I'm going to draw up a list of people who
have to remember you and who don't have to remember you.
You can't remember me. I'm not in your thoughts. I can't control them. But drawing up a list. Me, I thought it was really, really funny from Simonju. But what did you say? What will people remember about me?
What will people remember?
They will remember that I was such a very, 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 very tough man.
You don't look to be tough.
I don't look to be tough.
Baron, what I noticed about Olanya, even for the short period that I had to know about him, he was not.
You've known about him for a short period. That man has been deputy speaker for over 10 years.
For a short period.
Like all personally.
Personally, on a personal level.
Are you one of the people he's paying for school fees?
No.
You're not one of the 120.
I'm going to be among the people that are going to contribute.
Okay. 1 million shillings.
1 million shillings. Yes, I'm going to be. He was a non-partisan. He wasn't. He did not have a party that he was excluding that you're in UP, you're in FDC. What? Because we are saying that he was a friend of Norbert Mao. A good friend of Norbert Mao, and Norbert Mao, we know that.
But there have been reports that Norbert Mao is
what?
There have been reports. I also hear them in on social media there where I be seeing them. But
we haven't seen.
But I agree, non-partisan.
He was a non-partisan, and he stood on, like, he discouraged corruption. We all know, even there are several occasions where he said that corruption is eating up our country, stuff like this. So he was advocating for anti-corruption. He loved children. We are all seeing that the 120 children who stood up, that Olanya was paying for our tuition. So he loved children, even when you're not among his children, like he would love you so much. And even the MPs were talking about him, and he was also a pillar of in church.
That is very true.
He contributed for the
How much do you remember?
How much was it?
100 million shillings.
You see, he loved the church. He stood in for the church and he contributed for the love gift. So if you're there and you haven't contributed for the love gift,
what will you remember?
What will you remember you for? Please just go. And
anyway,
I'm going to read down what the MPs were talking about him, and even up to now they're still talking about him. Good stuff, good things. And Jacob Olanya, we all. This one is saying that I'm sorry to hear some people clamoring for money. Us in our culture, we contribute money to send off people. For those who are clamoring to eat, I'm asking God to call them immediately to go with Olanya. That is what Honorable Nathan Nandala Mafabi said.
Now Nandala Mafabi needs to relax. We shall call him.
Then Nia says, Jacob Olanya was a person who would fight corruption. Corruption is ravaging our country. People have a huge appetite for eating public funds. That is what Honorable Remulicha, Ivan Toroko County Member of Parliament, said that the Speaker of Olanya was a good man who would fight for corruption.
But isn't it ironical that he was a good man that would fight for corruption, but on his burial they wanted to use almost 1 billion more extra for his burial? I'm just saying. I think it's ironical.
Yeah, it is, but because he's third in rank.
Yeah, we haven't refused. By the way, the 1.2 billion, they're going to use it. But what I'm saying, it was 2.5 billion before, which is over 1 billion. So I'm saying, what was that of 1 billion for? And I think it's ironical.
You said you're going to go to the IGG office.
No, I'm going.
Today?
After Friday. No, we are now morning.
And then this one says that we will do the Honorable Speaker Jacob Olanya well if we spend more time researching before we debate than we spend at the canteen and corridors of Parliament. Honorable Zijan, David Livingston, MP, Mutembe County. Remember the other story that they did that the women, instead of coming to Parliament, they spend their time in the.
By the way, ever since our MPs were voted into power, that's the one time I've seen Parliament full like that. I've never seen Parliament full like that. So where do you be? You be at the canteen.
Where?
You be at the canteen. Where do you be? Please start coming and debate.
They work from home.
Please. They have
We've been in COVID. We've been in COVID, my friend. And then this one says, I can't forget when I walked to Jacob Olanya's office. He got off his chair, pulled the chair for me, and we talked. When I was walking out, he carried my bag. I have never seen such a man, such a humble man. That is what Laula Kanusu, a people with disability MP, said.
Okay.
Do you do that for women?
I don't.
What are we going to remember you for?
I only do that for the MP, people living with disabilities, and everyone like that.
What are you trying to say? Then there was a Jacob Olanya loved people, joy and patience, and he was a hard worker. We should emulate him, Ronald Balimwezo Nsuruga Nakawa, East Member of Parliament. That he loved joy, he loved patience, he loved people.
Generally, he emulated the fruit of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah,
you know it. Love, patience, kindness, self-control.
Even yesterday, his staff were talking about him, how he was a joker, how he loved joking around, how he greeted some people. Some people, when you're in high ranks, to greet the people that work for you, sometimes it's very difficult.
But me, the few times I've interacted with the late Speaker of Parliament, we were at a party, I won't lie, and he knows how to dance.
He knows how to dance?
He really knows how to dance, and he's the life of the party. He's not boring, he's not those officials who sit and they're humble, they don't want to get their suits wrinkled. He went.
But he loved dancing.
Yeah.
Even where he was, he would dance.
It's okay. Yeah. So he was one of those guys. Very humble guy, by the way.
Vibrant
and all these other things. So we'll definitely remember the late Speaker Jacob Olanya. Also, I think for many of you young people, it's the first time you're seeing a state funeral. You don't know how it happens. Well, there you go. And there were many flowers yesterday.
There were many flowers. But where are they going to take those flowers? Are they going to take back them to?
No, they'll remain at Parliament because flowers rot when you don't take care of them. Right? So.
But of course they're going to.
It's okay. That's where they. But there were many flowers. Yesterday was actually beautiful.
Expensive.
Parliament, 1.2 billion. We have to spend it. It's a state funeral. These days I'm on government side. Let's spend that.
Prices are high. Things of prices are high and stuff like
Let's
that.
first bury the late speaker.
Okay, and then Dr. Ruth Jena Cheng, Minister for Health, says that Jacob Olanya's health problem started in 2019 with a swelling in his neck, which doctors would later find out was cancer. That is what Dr. Ruth Cheng told Parliament. And then when you stand, speak what Olanya would love to hear. He was a peaceful man. Politics aside, let's talk about our leader who is lying here. Things he would love to hear. That is what Speaker Anita Amondi said. Read more of these stories and see there are a lot of people who are talking about the fallen Jacob Olanya.
But let's first leave Jacob Olanya alone. Tell me, for you, what will they remember you for? If you were dead today, what will they remember you for? Apart from the things you usually say here, but what else will they remember you for?
What else? They're going to remember me for working for the people, for loving people, for being peaceful.
You have to stand for MP 2026. I see you. Temua bululu. Temua. Oh, okay.
Hey, I have eyewitnesses and witnesses. Eyewitnesses. Do you know what they mean by eyewitnesses?
I know what they
mean. Hey, always be on the ground. Not like some MPs who are always in the chairs and doing that.
Yeah, so the funeral service that's happening at Kololo Airstrip is happening today at 9
a.m. And if you're not invited?
And no, 1,500. And maybe if I can just actually read some of the things that are happening from Farida Nampima, who is from the UPDF and the Ministry of Security. Now, for today's state funeral at Kololo for the late Jacob Olanya, we inform the public that Upper Kololo, Elgon Terrace, Lower Kololo, and Wampeo Avenue will be cut off for the period of the funeral service.
That's why there was a lot of jam.
Yeah. for the period the funeral service will be running. Normal flow will resume after the chief mourner leaves. You know who the chief mourner is?
The chief mourner? Who is the chief mourner?
President of the Republic of Uganda. So after normal flow will resume after the president leaves. But residents in and around Kololo are advised to use alternative routes to join Ginger Road or Acacia Avenue to avoid to come to the city. John Babiha Road will remain open. VIPs will use Elgon Terrace and enter the ground through the eastern gate and park at Heroes Corner. Well, there you go. In case you are using those routes, please don't use them. They are closed, they are locked. But tell us what you think or what you remember about the late speaker Jacob Olanya. On our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, that is at COU Family TV, on all those particular platforms. We're going to go in for a break, but Brenda will be coming in the next hour with more entertainment, news and much more. Do not go anywhere.
Vine Entertainment Group presents the third annual Vine Awards. It's about that time of the year when we recognize and celebrate those outstanding Christian achievers. Featuring performances by Flo Rocca from Nigeria, Levikson, Sandra Subi, Bunjoville, D-Rain, Uncle Mark, Rachel Namubiru, Pastor Wilson Bugembe, Martin Seku, Benji Kasule, Ivan TIT, Prophet Karunji, Lyrical Michael, Saint Ronnie, and Moyo Throne Worship. Kampala Serena Hotel is the place to be on Saturday, 7th of May 2022. Tickets are on sale, going for 100,000 VIP, 50,000 general, and 1 million shillings for a table at both Power FM offices and Sparkles Salon branches. The third annual Vine Awards is powered by Legacy Productions, Randair, Kampala Serena